you have a lot of people that have become wealthy in the last year because their house value has gone up. And, when you get the housing, when you make it too easy or too cheap to buy houses, those values come down. I don't want those values to come down. We have millions of people that own houses, and for the first time in their life, they're wealthy.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite realtor, Dr. Yeti, and I'm back with yet another video. Today, I'm going to be reacting to Trump's statement about wanting to drive home prices up. Now, I started watching a few seconds of it and I was like, no, this is great to react on this channel because we need to talk about this. One, before we get into it, we know that Trump is a businessman. Trump is a businessman, okay? And he does things with a businessman's perspective. And once again, if you are new to this channel, I am not for or against any particular person in office. I could care less who's in office. I look at things very objectively. I look at the data and I go with what I see. And based on what I'm seeing, Trump is moving like a businessman and he's saying he wants to drive home prices up. And in the process, we all know that he also wants to drop home mortgage interest rates down as well. As a matter of fact, he wants to drop the federal interest rate down as low as 1%. And I made a video about that last week, but now we see that Trump is really trying to push for wealth building. He calls it through owning homes, through home ownership. And I'm very curious to see, maybe that's one of the reasons why he is advocating to have people be able to buy a house this year, reducing interest rates, and now he's saying driving home prices up. But before I get into the video, you guys, we are at 330 subscribers today. I'm so grateful to all 330 of you who have decided to subscribe to the channel. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? It is a good time over here. Just ask the 330 subscribers. They will let you know. And if you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and like the video. I promise you this video is about to be a banger, okay? So go ahead and like the video, go ahead and subscribe, and let's get straight to the video.
I'm going to ask Scott Turner to speak really quickly about housing because, in my opinion, I have very strong opinions on housing. That's what I did for a long time. I did good with it. But, we got to get interest rates down even lower. They are now pretty low, but we got to get them lower. And I'm a big factor, to me, the biggest factor is interest rates for housing. Only in that, you have a lot of people that have become wealthy in the last year because their house value has gone up. And, when you get the housing, when you make it too easy or too cheap to buy houses, those values come down. I don't want those values to come down. We have millions of people that own houses, and for the first time in their life, they're wealthy.
Okay, so the first thing that came to my mind is, I've talked about this in a few of my videos before, which is that when we lower prices of homes and when home prices go up, somebody is going to get the short end of the stick. When we lower prices, the sellers and homeowners are going to be at a net negative. They're going to be at a loss because, the homeowners, they are paying for something that's worth less than what they owe on it. They're going to be underwater, right? So a lot of forbearances are going to be going up, foreclosures are going to be going up, short sales are going to be going up, and the sellers who want to sell their properties, they're going to be losing money, right? I guarantee you, if you buy a house right now, if you decide that you want to be a homeowner and you own this house, 9 times out of 10, you're going to want the equity to be so high that when you sell it, you're going to make a huge profit on it. That is the same thing with sellers right now. So we can't really get upset with sellers who want to sell a house at the most money they can make, right? Because one day you too will be a seller, and I guarantee you're not going to want to sell your house at a net negative or at break even, right? You're going to want to make a profit on the sale of your home. And so Trump wants to increase home prices, which I don't agree with. I definitely don't agree with the fact that we should increase home prices. I think that home prices should naturally do what it does, right? We don't need to try to push home prices to go up However, I do also agree that if he lowers interest rate, a lot of buyers will be able to enter into the housing market. Now, if he lowers the interest rate, no one is going to get the short end of the stick, except for the banks, unfortunately, but that's neither here nor there. But if he reduces interest rate, if we are able to have a lower interest rate, the buyers are going to be able to enter into the housing market, and sellers can still maintain the price point. That's if that is actually no, because typically when interest rates goes down, home prices go up as well. So sellers are going to be able to have the most money on their house, and buyers are going to be able to enter into the housing market. Now, when we do that and increase home prices, it will still affect the affordability of homes for people. Home prices and interest rate are the two major factors of what can make it difficult for people to own homes. However, I think that the most easiest thing to control is not home prices, is the interest rate. But if we control the interest rate, it will affect so many other aspects of the economy. It's not just the housing market. You can't just say, I'm going to lower the mortgage interest rate, because no particular person controls the mortgage interest rate. And it is a few factors in alignment with that. The treasury bonds, the treasury yield, the bonds, and the sentiment, right? The actual economy as a whole also affects it, because a lot of people don't understand that one person cannot just say lower the interest rate. Why is Trump not lower interest rate? Well, Trump does not even affect interest rates, any type of interest rates, right? Well, technically he does indirectly does, but the interest rates are affected by the Federal Reserve, which is an entity on its own. It's not a government owned entity. Government cannot control what the Federal Reserve does to lower interest rates. So, yeah.
Because a house is worth $500,000 or $600,000 or more or less, but more money than it's ever been worth before. I don't want to do anything to knock that down, and so I want to be very careful with this. You make housing, I can turn on housing immediately, but you make it too easy and you're going to knock the value down of people that own houses. I want to, for those people, those millions of people that own houses, we're going to drive those values up, but we're also going to try making it easier for people to buy the best.
Let me even add to that. I don't know why he's trying to drive it up, and I absolutely do not agree with that. We should not be trying to drive home prices up. Like, we should not be trying to do that. And if we do lower interest rates, affordability goes up more, right? I agree with that 100%. But he is a businessman, right? He is a businessman, so I understand it. But we should not be trying to artificially drive up home prices. Now, if you own a home right now and you are seeing the value of your home go up, guess what you're gonna see? Yes, you're building equity in your house, but you are also paying higher property taxes because now your property is worth more. So unless they completely eliminate property taxes, you are going to have to pay for the increase in equity of your home. They are going to tax you for owning property that is worth something. So yes, your property value is up, but at what cost? That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense to try to drive up home prices. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, I understand if you're saying let's leave homes the way it is and let it rise in its natural way, right? But to actively go out of your way to increase home prices, that is going to be detrimental for the homeowners, because some homeowners own the house outright and they don't owe any property. They don't own any mortgage on it, and all they owe is their property taxes. If you're paying $3,000 a year on property taxes, and then out of nowhere, the value of your home goes up so much that now your property tax is $6,000 a year. That's an additional $3,000 you have to find to make this payment for your property taxes. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all. So I don't agree with increasing property value. It's just leave it. Let's just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Yes, I get it. We want to build wealth, but it just seems very It doesn't make sense to me. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.
Thing that can happen for both groups of people is lower interest rates, and those interest rates are coming down, and with a proper intelligent person at the Fed, that person will be able to work with us to get interest rates down. That covers all of the sins. It covers everything.
You know what he's talking about, because we all know that Trump hates, like, it's almost like he detests this man, Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve. And he really is like, once this guy gets out, and Jerome Powell, by the way, his position will be up in the summer, I think in June. So he's like, he already has somebody else to replace him. He's like, once that man is out of here, we are going to see the reduction of interest rates. But guess what happened, right? Trump put Jerome Powell in office. Who's to say that this new guy is not going to do the same thing? Who's to say that this new guy is not going to go against what Trump says?
Lower interest rates keeps the values up for the people that have housing and lets other people buy housing. And Scott, if you could just expand quickly on that.
Yes, sir. You did allude to when we first came in, sir, you know, our fiscal house in America was a mess. But because of your economic policies, the economy is thriving. And I do have some good news to share. As you said, you know, good news. I hope this will make the interest rates continue to go down. But because of your policies, sir, home sales in December, they rose sharply to their strongest pace in 3 years. A lot of people, when we first came in, and particularly young people, were concerned and asking the question whether they would ever be able to afford to buy a house in America.
Okay. Do you guys, I'm so grateful that I do these videos. I'm so grateful that I'm able to see the hypocrisy and seemingly lies. Because just a few days ago, I reported that we had a record-breaking amount of buyers back out of the housing market. They backed out of their contract, meaning that buyers found a property, they liked it, submitted an offer on the property, and decided, I no longer want to buy a house anymore. I'm gonna back out of the contract. That was record-breaking last December, right? And that happened the highest since 2017. We also found, because I talked about this either yesterday, my last video or 2 videos ago, where I talked about the fact that we had the lowest sales, seasonally adjusted, okay? The lowest sales in December in a very long time. Like the sales went down. I talked about that. So it's very interesting, okay, to hear that this guy, I don't know who he is, maybe I should, I don't know, is saying that he has good news for Trump and that home sales went up in December. As a matter of fact, let's look this up. I did, let's see, whoops. Home sales number. Because I want to know what the truth is. Not Atlanta, United States, national. We're gonna look at the Redfin. Where's Redfin? Redfin had their data. Pending home sales. Home sellers outnumber buyers. Okay, so this was the article that I did a video about. Home buyers are canceling deals at a record rate. Home sellers outnumber buyers by a record margin. We talked about that in another video, but I'm looking for the data statistic. So in December 2025, home prices went up 0.4% compared to last year. So prices of homes went up, right? But we're not looking for home prices. We're looking for number of sales. Why is this so? Actually, no. Number of homes for sale. No. Homes sold above list price. How about numbers of homes sold? How about that? Let's look for how many homes. Data. Supply, demand. Medium sale price. Housing supply. We're not looking for that. In December 2025. No, we're not looking for that either. Okay. Where's this data? I'm looking for Atlanta House. What? All right, let's look at. It's saying in December 2025, U.S. home sales faced a slowdown characterized by higher cancellation rate, matching levels, while the number of homes sold grew to 2.9%. Let's find two. Okay. Home prices nationwide are up 0.4% year over year in December. At the same time, the number of homes sold rose 2.9% and the number of homes for sale rose. Okay, so that's interesting. So even though home prices were up 0.4% year over year, the number of homes sold was up by 2.9%. And the numbers of home for sale went up. I mean, we already knew inventory is high. So the numbers of home for sale, the number of homes for sale being higher is not weird at all, but the number of homes sold went up by 2.9%. So I guess the home sales did go up. So this is not a contradicting statement, even though I reported yesterday that it went down. Listen, that's why it's important to fact check. You know, can I be honest with you? Since I got off of TikTok, I used to be on TikTok a lot, and I used to always easily believe things that people said because they said it like it was so factual. But it took me saying, you know what, like something isn't adding up. Let me look this up myself. And a lot of things that people said on social media or on the news or on TV or on YouTube, a lot of that stuff is not real. So always fact check what I say, what other people say. Matter of fact check me when I say something and it doesn't align. Let me know in the comments, like what you just said is wrong, because he is right. You know, home sales did go up, but he didn't, I guess, talk about the fact that people are also backing out of contracts at a high rate than the last few years.
Which is the American dream. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate dipped to a multi-year lows, driving monthly payments down for the 2 years at the lowest levels. So more people can get a mortgage now.
Now, going back to the mortgage rates did go down, and it did shoot down because of the whole thing with the Greenland situation. But guess what happened? No, it wasn't even the Greenland. The Greenland situation spiked it back up. When Trump talked about putting $200 billion into the housing market, it dropped the interest rates lower. But one, people found out that was a temporary fix. And secondly, people found, secondly, the whole Greenland situation happened and it drove interest rates right back up. Now, it is still pretty low for the last 5 years. Actually, not 5 years. For the last like 3 years, it's pretty low, right? Last time I checked, it was at 6.12 per the Mortgage News Daily, and it was 6.10 per Freddie Mac. So interest rates are pretty low overall. But when we're looking at the last few weeks, last few days, it is like starting to creep back up.
Families can be able to afford to get a home and achieve the American dream. At HUD last year, we helped and supported over 1 million people through FHA and Ginnie Mae to be able to buy a home. 500,000 of those were first-time home buyers, and hundreds of thousands of our veterans we supported. And so that's good news that millions of people in our country are now beginning to buy homes. We also, sir, saw the UR and we're working with you, making bold action to ban institutional investors from buying single-family homes. Those homes are for the American people. So, sir,
which you guys know I'm in agreement with, and I pray that. Well, I would like to know what your thoughts are in the comments about institutional buyers and if you think that they should own properties, institutions. Somebody in my comments made a statement that really stood out to me, because you know what, I agree with it. Even though I myself I'm a landlord, I do agree with it, because if it was not possible for me to do it, I probably would have found another avenue to do real estate. And that is that they don't think that anyone should buy single family homes as an investment at all. And to that, I you know what, I'm not against that. I don't think that homes should be considered, people's livelihoods, like homes should be considered a form of investment personally. But the truth is, it is a form of investment. It does grow in equity. It does grow, over time. So it's like, why would people not take advantage of it? And it's not illegal to own these properties as investment properties. So why would people not do that? You know what I mean? But I do think that morally, ethically, it may be more detrimental than helpful to the society.
Thank you for your leadership on that. Also working with Director Pulte over at FHFA to buy $200 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities, driving down even more the cost to get a home. And so we're grateful for those actions. Also, the One Big Beautiful Bill has been tremendous, making the low-income tax.
My dude, I just want to say, like, goodness, he is just like, you know what they say, like, I mean, my Lord, like, just, yeah, Trump, you, because of you, then this thing is happening. Thank you so much. Like, just say the facts, bro. Speak the truth. You ain't gotta suck up to the guy. Like, calm down. we can all sense it. And if I can sense it, I'm sure Trump can sense it too. Like, goodness gracious, just say the facts for what it is. Because of you and your big, beautiful bill, and because of you, you dropped this, and bro, just say what it is. But you know what though? In a world like this, in politics, stuff like that, it does work, right? I'm sure he got to where he is right now by doing what he's doing. It's worked for him so far, right? So I guess that's why I'm not where he is, right? So I guess, flattery is it works in those kind of environments.
Credit increase, working with Secretary Bessent at Treasury to produce more projects and more homes in America. And the One Big Beautiful Bill also made our beloved opportunity zones permanent. And the media doesn't talk about opportunity zones very much, but I'll do it today because I know that they have been transformative in our country. Over 1 million people lifted out of poverty, sir, in opportunity zones, 300,000 new units of housing in opportunity zones, and a 3.4 increase in the value of houses.
By the way, we have to give him credit. Senator, he's a great guy. Tim Scott came to see me, first administration, first term, and he had this idea for opportunity zones, and he gave me the idea. We did it. We implemented it. It's one of the most successful programs in the history of our country, and nobody talks about it. The press.
If you guys don't know what opportunity zones are, and I'm not well versed in it, but I can kind of explain a little bit. Opportunity zones are areas in the country where there are incentives for developers to build or even buy or create housing for low-income people and things of that nature, create housing for those who need housing, essentially. And so they give incentives, I think tax breaks, I don't know what else it is, but those are zones. So typically people who are building properties for the underserved communities tend to look for opportunity zones to build those properties or to buy properties, so that they can get those advantages and those incentives.
Doesn't talk about it, but I want to just tell you, Tim Scott, Senator, South Carolina, did a great job, right?
Did a wonderful job, yes, sir.
Did a good job. He's a good man.
Yes, sir. And so those have been made permanent now. Will help millions of Americans to be able to afford to buy homes. Also, the One Big Beautiful Bill has been allowing HUD to make sure, working with Department of Homeland Security, that every person that lives in HUD-funded housing is an American citizen. A blind eye has been turned prior to us being here to people living in HUD-funded housing, but no more. We're going to take account and transparency to make sure. And so there's a lot of crime that goes on in public housing, but we're coming after the criminals and making sure that everybody in there is an American citizen. So thank you for your support. We have taken possession of our new building in Alexandria, and we're going to save the American taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. So, sir, thank you for your support and your leadership.
Thank you, Scott. Great job. Appreciate it. One of the things Scott said, though, is
My goodness. That man heard, thank you, Scott. He was like, yo, it is so funny to see stuff like that. I'm very observant of people's body language and stuff like that. This man was really, really, really trying to get in that man's good graces. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are about everything we discussed today. What's going on in the housing market and, you know, Trump's plans, you know, for the housing market. Do you think that it's beneficial for the people? Do you think that people should be excited to see what the housing market is going to be looking like in the future? Is Trump making a good decision in increasing or trying to increase home prices but reducing interest rates? One thing I will say that a lot of people don't understand the importance of interest rates, right? They hear interest rates and they're like, oh, interest rates are high, but don't truly understand how important it is. Because with interest rates being high, it literally a few points, like 2 points away, you could be eligible or ineligible to buy a house, right? Or at least at the price point that you want, right? If you just 1% interest rate increase can make you able to buy a house that's even $50,000 more than you would have been able to afford without that increase. Decrease, right? 1% decrease could make you able to buy a $50,000 house or $50,000 more than what you're able to afford without that increase. So, you know, there are a few things that a few ideas that he has that to me, I agree with. Like, reducing interest rate is very important for affordability. Home prices, if we didn't touch it, but we only touched interest rates, people will flock to the housing market. I guarantee you that. But with the home prices being as high as it is, he wants to keep pushing it up. You know what I mean? Like, let's not try to keep pushing it up. Let's just try to leave it alone to do what it does and then reduce interest rate. But before I go, y'all, I want to show y'all this guy's face. Hold on. He is so happy. He is so happy that Trump said thank you. Like, anyway, y'all, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I'm very grateful that you watched it to the end. If you have not subscribed yet, now that you've watched it this far, I'm sure that you are not going to be afraid to click the subscribe button. Please don't forget to hit the like button. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I love you. And remember, God loves you even more. Bye. And I'll see you in the next one.